All right. Well, somebody popped in here and apparently very recently, Seth the programmer posted a video saying the allegations are not true. And so since we gave the guy Clyde or whatever, we watched his video about the topic for 3 hours. Well, we'll give Seth his chance to say what he has to say. Let's go.
Age.
How old are you?
I'm 28. How old are you?
Already cursing, bro.
28? Wow, I'm 22.
Oh, you're old.
I'm not old.
I was looking for like a 14-year-old. What the granny?
Oh my god.
Okay.
Not joking. Do you have a little sister?
Hello everyone, it's your host, Seth the Programmer. This video has been a long time coming, and there are many reasons this video did take me a long time, which I will be getting into later in the video, and you guys will definitely understand why. I will say this just very bluntly, very short. I've made many mistakes in my life.
Not me. I'm just built different.
You know, I've hurt people in the past, including close friends, and I'm currently seeking therapy to work on myself and to be a better person.
Bro, I don't know, man. It's maybe he is, but it's like I feel like everybody talks about how they're seeking therapy, and like I don't know. I could just be very cynical because I've heard this 100 times before. But everybody's like, "Oh, I'm seeking therapy." Like maybe they are. I mean, you don't have to prove it. That's like a HIPAA violation or something. But it's just like a very common talking point to say that I'm seeking therapy. It's just like I don't know. I just don't. Okay, sure.
More understanding of others. And that being said, yes, I wasn't to my friends, but the bottom line and the most important thing here is I am not. The thing was never really.
Oh yeah, what was it? 16 and 20? That's not at all. Like you could say it's inappropriate, but our society accepts that as something. Like in every state, there's a. Like, I don't think that it should, but it does, and so you can't fault somebody for that. Like whatever. Obviously, he's not one.
Clyde's huge concern. Clyde defended me in the past about this, and so did many other YouTubers. And Clyde himself, he became a little bit confused by it because of admissions from a different person named Catherine Kawhi, who happened to be a boy, and Clyde always just assumed, well, Seth is not gay, so therefore he would never hit on a boy. And then,
how old is this guy? I mean, every time I look, it's a different fucking age. Right now, it says he's 18 years old as of January 2023. This one says he's 26 now. How old is this dude?
When he heard about my sexuality possibly not being straight, he became a little bit confused. I will just say right now that Catherine Kawhi has already came out and said, no, I was not a victim of Seth. So with that out of the way, we're just going to get straight into satire.
It seems that, from what you just told me...
Isn't Catherine the girl who got upset because he asked her if she was autistic, or am I wrong about that? I should read this. I mean, like, how do we know if this is actually her? I mean, but whatever. I heard you wanted to know the lore, so I'll keep it short. Catherine's Highway 16 was an alias that I made up. It was an alias that I made up to troll one of my down bad IRLs in a Discord. At the same time, I was invited to Val Kingdom and like that. Okay, so they're saying it's a troll. I don't exactly know who this Catherine person is supposed to be. We'll keep listening.
So with that out of the way, we're just going to get straight into satire.
It seems that, from what you just told me, that it was kind of like an unspoken thing that everyone's just kind of trolling each other and trying to make each other uncomfortable.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So you never felt threatened by him, right?
Yeah, no, I didn't.
Okay.
I mean, like, listen, I think that people have to understand something, that like Seth might be a particular bad or particularly obnoxious person, but they're all inside like the same Discord communities doing similar stuff. So if Seth might be pushing it too far, but like we have to not pretend that like nobody's doing this insane, edgy, like disproportionate trolling. The amount of times I saw the N-word on the screen when I was like looking at the original video, it's like, okay, and maybe they're black, but like you get my point. Like there's people in edgy Discord spaces that are sitting there, they're open, they're like, we're here to debate, we're debating each other. We're saying they're basically debating each other on dumb shit, and half the video is just like petty nonsense. Like Seth was an annoying debater that was a baby, you know. When it comes to the more serious stuff, it just kind of seems like some of it is disproportionate. Something about eating poo, maybe we'll get to that. I didn't hear anything of that in Clyde's video itself. Somebody mentioned that. I haven't heard that before, but like outside of that, like
yeah. And
yes, like at the time I was just sort of, it was just my personality to be as weird and annoying as possible. My mentality during this whole thing was that most people on Discord have like a veil of irony. So like I just assumed that everyone was sort of trolling.
Get a veil of a better mic.
At the time.
What I'm coming today here is to just like quickly speak with you and just get your kind of, your comments and everything like that.
Okay. Who the fuck's Catherine? I was talking about the girl that was like crying or whatever. Who's that?
Honestly, I feel like my situation is like hardly relevant. It is like, because once again, I don't consider myself a victim at all.
Yeah.
I just thought that my encounters with him, with Seth, were kind of sus.
Satire situation. Satire is 3 years younger than me, and during the screenshot, she is 17, and I'm
well, you're 3 years younger. I don't care. It's again, it's not like predatory to do 3 years.
20 years old.
He used to say
At 17 and 20, like, oh, wait, was that what it was?
Is 3 years younger than me, and during the screenshot, she is 17.
Okay, yeah, I don't care. 17 and 20, I don't care. That's fine.
And I'm 20 years old.
he used to say things like that in private calls as well, like with his like highest of like admins as well up there. They would just sit in calls and he would sit there and say things like that. You know what I mean? And I feel dumb as a 16-year-old, like not recognizing those things now. You know, at 22, I can sit there and say, what was I thinking? But yeah.
Then in future screenshots where a lot of people are like, you know, the pepperoni nips and they're saying I'm sexually harassing her. She's 18 and I am 21. A lot of people.
Well, I don't know the specific context. You could still sexually harass somebody just because they're a particular age. Your best argument is like, yeah, I was an edgy piece of shit and I should have said those things, but it wasn't like predatory. It was because I was immature and being like obnoxious and gross. Like, okay.
Really over-exaggerate the age difference, and a lot of people, they keep doing this thing where they're like, Seth, you're 21 talking to a 16-year-old girl. Like, they'll always like age me up, but just like keep her perpetually 16, and it's a completely dishonest narrative. It's always a 3-year gap. She was born in 2000. But beyond that, a lot of these screenshots are actually doctored or fake, and you'll notice in a lot of these screenshots, she removes all of her replies and a lot of context. You can literally see it in the screenshots where it's like, who is Seth replying to? Is he having like a schizo attack? Who is he talking to in these screenshots? And it's because she removed all the context, which originally the context is that, at least for the original one, was that me and her would get into these private calls with like admins and stuff like that, which she admits on Clyde's stream, and we would do it to sort of poke fun at another member in our server who actually had a crush on her. So me and her would make screenshot bait and then send it to him. So there was no actual intent to solicit.
You guys are a real piece of shit. Jesus Christ.
Anything. There's not like, oh, you know, I was just joking, bro. It's not even that. There's not even an attempt to solicit anything from anyone. On top of her already doctoring and lying about a lot of screenshots. And to further go into this, there's a guy who actually completely despised me. He thought I was absolutely a pedophile. He hated that, and no one was talking about it. So he actually helped inspire to make this document on me to begin with, and he was the original person behind it and kind of getting into it and, you know, arguing and creating the arguments for it. And then he just straight up realized these people keep telling me different lies and different things, and suddenly they're making new stories all the time that don't make any sense and clearly never happened.
Okay, so with the whole, like...
You're 17, you know not to act goofy around people? Yeah, good for you, man. When I was 17, I was a real piece of shit. I don't know what to tell you. I came from, like, a very edgy space, especially as I got, like, even, like, older. I was, like, worse. When I was, like, in my early 20s, like, I was, like, super edgy and shit. So, you know, maybe I just have, like, a point of empathy since I was, like, a super edgy little asshole.
50 messages I woke up to. Satire and Abraham are trying the whole... he's trying to fly out and fuck
Yeah.
Yeah, so, like... Didn't she...
Apparently they have screenshots this time. Yeah.
But that's bullshit, because, like... You ask them for evidence, and then they're just like, "Oh, we didn't say that," or "We don't have any evidence," or something. And then like now they just suddenly have evidence, like almost 6 months later.
Yeah. So I'll relay the chronology from what I saw, like about the little situation that's happening now, and I'll just tell you my kind of takeaway. But basically, what happened was I forgot who I was talking to. I think it was you know, the MF Doom kid.
Yeah.
Know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I forgot what we were talking about. We were talking about some shit, but he basically asked me about you, and I basically said, oh, Seth's like a liar and shit, but I don't think he's a pedophile. I think Abraham and them lied about that. And so he goes, really? You think Abraham would lie about that? And I'm like, yeah, I do think he would, because he could just flat out lie to my face.
Also, people online don't know what a pedophile is. Like, it's one of the most terminally online things that, like, everybody is a pedophile. Like, if something that makes you uncomfortable, it's like a pedophile. Like, oh, it's grooming. It's this. People are unironically telling me that, like, it's like a 16 and 20-year-old that's grooming. It's not grooming. It's protected in, like, every state. Personally, I'm against it, but I also understand that, like, my feelings against it are different from, like, the reality. And since the law says it's okay to do, unfortunately, we have to operate in a way of advocacy to change, like, the age of consent, not in a way to socially shame everybody to this, like, disproportionate degree. That's just a reality.
And so he goes, huh, well, maybe you should talk to Abraham. I'm like, pass.
Right.
And then that was like 2 days ago. Then yesterday, I guess Abraham hits up Fingerprint and is just like, hey, man, I was hoping that I could talk to Trini or something, because recently, you know, I don't know, like, you know, it's just there's something really pressing that I want to talk to him about. And I was like, we literally the last time, because of this shit, said that we weren't going to ever talk again, because there's just no point in us speaking. So I was like, yeah, I'm good. Then that try harder.
Yeah, it's unfortunate people water it down so much, 'cause it's really diminishing to people who are actually, like, you know, are actual survivors of these things.
Kid who's like the notorious doxer in this community then proceed to ask Infamous, oh, yo, can you ask Trini and Fingerprint to come talk with me? And Fingerprint's not even involved, so that already seems suspicious as fuck to me. So I was like, I'll just talk to him so he doesn't bother Fingerprint. And just like Fingerprint's busy with a bunch of shit, so I'm not gonna have him being bothered over it. So I decided to like kind of hear what like he was even trying to talk about. So it was apparently about you.
Yeah.
And he started telling me like, oh, like we want your testimony and blah 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 blah. And I'm like, look, been there, done that. Nothing came out of it. I'm good. And he was like, well, Seth said like all sorts of weird shit. I'm like, yeah, Seth said some creepy shit, but he apologized. We've kind of all moved on from it. No real harm, no real foul. Like, yeah, what is there to really talk about at this point? And he basically was like, well, he should have said that stuff. And I'm like, I agree. But if it's not to the degree of like child grooming or anything, I don't know why you guys would go out of your way to like try and ruin his career or slander him so badly as like this weird child hunting pedophile when, you know, like you deal with like depression and shit. Like that could be a very serious like mental health concern for you. Like just all sorts of like fucking unnecessary.
Yeah, true. First of all, if he did a bad thing, like I don't care about his mental health. But more than that, like the problem is that online, it's not even that people are like. So there's definitely people who are lying, but then there's definitely going to be people who actually think that this is like a predatory behavior because this is the problem. We have this all the time. When it comes to an online space, you have a bunch of kids who dictate the narratives in every single sphere online. It doesn't matter what the sphere is. And what ends up happening is that they will say absolutely dumb shit that they have no understanding of. And then adults on the internet will reinforce what they're saying and what they're feeling and thinking and be like, no, you're right. Like, oh, 20, like, oh, like 18 and 17 is a real problem. Like, oh, this is, 19 and 16, like, that's a huge problem. It's like, well, no, not really. I mean, it's not ideal, but it's not something that's predatory in any capacity and at all in the online world. And as an adult that makes content, you should be like, yeah, no, you're wrong and you need to chill out. We can have conversations about things that make you uncomfortable and things that you dislike and advocacy towards changing those things without trying to label everybody some kind of like a predator. It's very unintelligent. The problem is that everybody is like anonymous in some capacity. So when you have like an audience of like 1 million people, let's say, you know, if you put them in a room, you'd see that like 1 million of them are all children, right? And but since on the internet, you think that they're like, oh, these people have equal say to me. Like they don't. I don't mean to diminish like young people, but you have to understand, and I don't mean to be rude, but if you're young, you just don't have life experience or understanding of the world. You haven't even finished like developing till you're 25. Like you really like, I listen to anybody that I'll talk to, but like there's going to be a different way that you're going to be treated when you're younger. You're going to be treated in a way that your mistakes are less impactful, but I'm also not going to take you as seriously as somebody who's like in their 30s or something. That's like has more like that's more developed. That's has a better understanding of the world. That's gone through like a life experience. I say the same thing with like somebody who dropped out of high school at like 16. They've been working since then, and they're like 22 because they're also going to be more mature than somebody who's like 22, but like is still going to college and not working a job, you know? So it's just something that people should understand.
Stress. If not that, it's still a huge financial risk because your whole thing is about platforming, essentially. It's what you do. You have a social media profile that brings in revenue and shit. People threaten that by like labeling you a pedophile and that's seen as even remotely reputable. That's not good. So I'm like, yeah, like, I don't know. Like, you guys should definitely be way more.
It's a like adult's responsibility. You got to push against these narratives and not like just make people feel happy and comfortable. You have to like have the right talks.
Be careful with that shit. And then they keep trying. So this try harder guy keeps trying to convince me. He actually has way more definitive evidence and blah 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 blah. And I'm just like, look, bro. Just a heads up. Abraham and Satire lied about this shit. They told me, oh, Seth promised to fly out and promised that he would come to a specific hotel because he knew the hotel in her area and knew her fucking.
Well, how old was she? 17 and he was 20. Like, who cares?
Australian zip code or whatever the fuck.
Right.
And that like all sorts of like crazy detailed information, and that they had all of the evidence for it. And I took their word for it because it seemed really legitimate at the time. And so I'm like, yeah, like okay, sure. Then when you and I argued, you were like, and I thought this was a legitimate point. You were like, well, if it is the case that I'm just seriously like a child grooming pedophile and there's just so much evidence for me just like asking Satire when I could fly out there, like, you know, why don't you guys just expose me? And I was like, yeah, that is a good point because Abraham and Satire have been talking about it for a while, so why don't we just do it?
I guess his wish came true, huh?
So I asked them, and by the way, it wasn't just me who heard them say this. They talked about it with me and Mikey, right? So just keep that in mind for a second. So I hit them up about it, and I'm like, Abraham, yo, can you get me that evidence? And then he tells me, we never said that. And I'm like, dude, are you being fucking serious right now? And he's like, yeah, we never said that. And so I asked him, Mikey, and I'm like, yo, did he not say that? And he was like, not only did they say that, but they promised they had evidence. And so I was like, yeah, there's fucking liars. And I told them up front, I thought they were fucking liars. Then they proceeded to try and call me a pedophile and shit on Twitter because I talk to Jade occasionally, which I thought was really ironic because I don't know if you know this, but Satire used to have really private conversations with Jade, like real.
That shit is like so rampant. Even that, like, what is it? That Natty Forsyth person is constantly getting called a pedophile because they did like an inappropriate thing. I've covered it like multiple times. You can go look it up and I'm like qualifying everything I say. And it's like you people online, like you guys will virtue signal about these topics. Like you have no understanding of like actual pedophilia and actual like predatory shit that's going on. And like you'll just be like, oh, this person's well, because like the pedophile, it just means bad now. Like that's all it means. You've diminished the word and like destroyed the value of what it means. There's people all over. It doesn't matter what sphere it's on. It's not just the SJWs. It's like it's everybody does this dumb shit. Like really grow up.
Really deeply, emotionally intimate conversations with this like 11-year-old for no fucking reason.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, that's actually fucking weird.
Did you just say? Hold on, I gotta.
With this like 11-year-old, private conversations with Jade, like really deeply, emotionally intimate conversations with this like 11-year-old for no fucking reason.
Yeah.
Well, that's weird.
Which I thought was really ironic because I don't know if you know this, but Satire used to have really private conversations.
Well, I wonder how old Satire is.
With Jade, like really deeply, emotionally intimate conversations with this like 11-year-old for no fucking reason.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, that's actually fucking weird. She was ranting about her mom and shit to like this kid. Really bizarre.
Yeah, it is. It's like trauma dumping, pretty much still, and especially to a young person, that could really fuck them up. You know, doesn't mean that they intentionally did something wrong, but yeah, that could be. You know, you gotta be careful with that.
Like prepubescent.
But dude, this is someone who's still doing like pre-algebra homework. Like you're sitting here ranting to her about your mom dying. Like that's just like why him? And that's just bizarre to me. But yeah, they try to call me a pedophile and shit because you talked to. So I'm just like, look, I get the impression that they just like to lie and have weird vendettas against people and shit. I'm not the first person they've done this to. You definitely aren't the first person they've done this to. That's just how they've always been. It's been like that since like Aradaro became the leader of their group. So I have just no higher standard for them than just to like lie and be vindictive.
Yeah.
And I tried relaying it to this kid, but he kept swearing at all sorts of evidence and shit. And after a certain point, you know, he's not giving evidence. And by the way, I don't know if you know about this kid. Jester might have told you. But apparently he like swatted some fucking kid because some kid joked that he wasn't that good of a hacker or something. So he got him swatted and apparently got his dad in prison or some crazy shit.
What the fuck?
Interesting.
and
There's probably more to that story, but interesting.
it makes yeah, ask Jester more about that. He'll know more about it because I don't really know that much about the situation. But Tryharder said that was basically the situation, but like it was just dumb or really complicated or something along those lines. And it gets weirder because you got to keep in mind the only reason I didn't try and expose you sooner was because when I asked, and this is something that came up like 3 years ago. I asked Abraham, hey, why don't we just like collaboratively put this out there into the public domain if you guys have so much evidence of Seth being a pedophile? This is something I've been asking about for years. And again, suddenly he doesn't want to work with me because apparently I'm a bad person and I do too much fucked up shit. But now he's hanging around some kid who swats people and stuff.
If you have information for like a very long time and you decide not to release it, it is like really suspicious that you're holding on to it. Like for what reason, honestly? Like what's the motivation behind you holding on to it? Like it shows to me, even if somebody did like something super bad and you're like, you know what, I've known about this for 3 years, I'm not going to come forward with it. And then you come forward at like an opportune time, like maybe the person's like hitting them. It's just like, I'm a little suspicious of your feelings. Like, why did you wait until this moment? Like, and there has to be like a reason for that. You know, maybe it's a good reason, but there has to be like, that's just very suspicious to me.
That seems really bizarre to me. Suddenly they have screenshots and shit. Seems super bizarre to me. So I basically said, look, if any of the shit you guys can provide is confirmable beyond just random screenshots, like, i.e., since he's apparently like a fucking god-tier hacker, if he can get into your account or something, and then just showcase you fucking talking to a kid or something, which, I mean, like, you know, if you can get into people's accounts so easily, why not just do something like that, right? Like, if he can get into your account, why doesn't he literally just do that?
Yeah.
Why can't he show you talking to a kid or something? Like, on video, like, stream, or... Yeah, like, that's what I'm wondering. Because we have to rely on blurry ass old pixelated screenshots of like shit, and then it's just silly. So I just want no real part of it.
And then they're like, hey, Seth, can you get Seth in this group chat with me, Fax, and Tryharder?
No, don't do it.
An interesting conversation.
And then they were like,
bro, like I swear to God, like just like the last video that the other guy put out, like it's so much like obnoxious, like petty shit that they're talking about, like. It's just like droning on, just really like it reads me as like high school fucking drama, like just the tone of the voice and everything. It's
we have some proof
obnoxious.
of pedophile, and I'm like, okay, so it's just gonna be the bullshit or whatever. I can refute it or something. But then like I was like, but isn't like Tryharder like the uber nuker hacker kid? Like he's definitely gonna hack my shit if I join this group chat. You know what I mean? So like I was like, no, I'm not joining. So now I kind of have to deal with like the repercussions, which is like they're gonna expose it to Rakuzan, which they just got like a 150-man call, and they were like ranting about all this evidence they have. Apparently Jade's in on it now too, even though like, and apparently Ice is saying that Jade wanted like clout or something recently, so that's why he's doing it. I don't know, but Jade's back on it, so
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what's up with Jade. I will say he's always been kind of on the fence about it. Same with me, but. Those screenshots do look really bad. My thing is just, where the fuck were those screenshots literally like 6 months ago when I asked for them?
That's what I mean. Like, where, like, you asked for these, and now they just come up, like, 6 months. And here's the other thing that's weird, too. So they've been on this, like, Seth's a pedophile thing for 4 years. I've never heard this argument a single time. Where did they even get the screenshots from?
This only came with this last year.
Like,
yeah, it's Dragon, just like the last one.
Apparently, Abraham and Satire.
Right, but it's like, where do you even get these? Because my account's deleted, so you can't, like, go on my shit and find, oh, wait, he did say this. You can't do that. Like, it's not available. You know what I mean? So,
no, there's a way. Like, if they know what the
I mean, that doesn't make you look good. Just saying that, just, you know, like, you can't even find it. There's no evidence left. It's like, okay, well, good point. That just makes you seem a little suspicious. Not enough to really go with anything, but you're just like not smart to say.
Deleted username is, which they could find through group chats and shit. They could click on it and then just associate it with you by basically implicating that you were in group chats as Seth, and then just showing screenshots of that. But like, even then, they weren't showing shit like that. They were showing like screenshots of what seemed to be a normal profile of like you talking to Satire. One of them was of the nudes one, which we've talked about before. Right. But other ones were apparently of you like talking to Satire about going to Australia and shit, and saying the only reason you don't do it is basically because you're like lazy or something. Which again, this is what I was asking for literally 6 months ago. So where the fuck was that? And just some other shit.
Okay, but how old was that girl? Weren't they like? Wasn't he like fucking one day? Didn't you say at the beginning she was like 17 and 20 or something, 16 and 20? I don't.
Like, apparently, this one was just really bizarre. I thought it was like just dog shit evidence, but one of them was of like you talking to some fucking guy LARPing as a girl, who then proceeded to be like, "Oh, hey, what's up, Seth? Yo, hey, what's up, random person? Oh, by the way, random person, how old are you? Oh, I'm 16." And then he said that you took a super special interest to his age based on, I'm not sure.
What is
it's
like,
weird.
What
like,
is
obviously, it's
shit,
the weird
man?
slander campaign.
Like, what is that shit?
But I did say that I would like make a video, but the video wasn't gonna be of like me being like, "Oh, Seth's a fucking definitive pedophile" or anything. I was gonna say, which I think is true, and then honestly, I'll say this: it's what I was telling Noluk earlier. I think the best thing for you to do in this situation is just to kind of like agree to certain shit. Just talk about what you did in response, how you made like stupid ass jokes or some shit. Just say that like you don't do that shit anymore. You didn't really know like the ramifications of that or whatever, and just kind of move on. But the other shit, like I can vouch for you that they just fucking lied about it, like one way or the other. Right. Bare minimum, they said they had it, then lied, and then said they never said they had it.
I mean, like if you want me on the video, I can get on the video. So I mean,
we can do some shit.
Yeah.
We can ask Aeroflame as well. Like, I don't want to be like a part of the situation too deeply because I don't want them like trying to mess with me or whatever.
But it's kind of like you're like the ultimate like vouch, because everyone, like all of them are like.
Wow, just came by to say my life improved ever since I stopped watching you. Now I now have a career and a beautiful girlfriend. Well, I appreciate that, my friend. I'm glad that I'm glad that your life's gotten better since you stopped watching me, my friend.
Well, because I'm the one who popularized it, yeah.
Right, so you're like the ultimate one behind it. So it's just like, okay, well now you have this guy like vouching that they lied to him. When everyone wants your testimony, right? And like, why did you decide to defend Seth after, you know, initially and then now why are you like just on defense even though Satire came out with this new stuff? And like people just want to know that, right? Like I can come out and say like, prove that screenshot's real, prove it, and like people will still be like, oh, I'm kind of suspicious. But like if you were to say like, well, I asked for these and they didn't have them, then like it's just way more definitive. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, it wasn't even just me. Like I said, it was me, it was Mikey. We actually asked Bucky about it way back when a couple of times, and Satire basically refused. The only screenshot that we ever originally saw over the past couple of years, until literally like I think that one conversation I had with Abraham, and then these recent ones, I think we saw just the one of you asking her for nudes. And Nolik pointed this out. If you read the actual conversation, she was obviously deleting messages, which is like kind of just brings to the light that she's just like fucking lying and like intentionally trying to miscontextualize shit.
Holy fuck! If there was something actually going on here, like this guy would have no fucking clue what's going on, because like she was deleting something. Like, okay, listen, just none of this matters. What age was she? Like she was in like a consensual age range. It's all that matters. You know, if it was he might, now if it was unsolicited, like that's inappropriate. Like, hey, listen, you have to take no for an answer better, obviously. But like, it's just like we're just going on and on and on and on about it, like as if it's like, because what they're saying basically is if it's true, if he actually did solicit this information, then he is a pedophile. But no, like that's just not how these things work.
Right, and it's very easy for her just to delete shit as well, because like I don't even have the account.
Yeah,
God, these guys are so. Everybody in this situation is so.
Yeah, it's not like you can really do shit.
Honestly.
So you heard it yourself. She is very dishonest, creates a lot of lies and weird stories. This is also true with the whole three-way situation, where she was saying me and whoever else were going to have a three-way with minors. This is just completely not true. I'm going to have someone else vouch for me right now. They're actually older than me, and she completely just pulled that story out of her ass to make me look worse than I am.
Alrighty, so regarding the whole threesome thing, that didn't have to do anything with satire at all. That was a different.
I think satire's a person, just so you know.
Person. It was like this moderator, basically. It was like on Kick. It was like 2017, 2018.
Kick is not good.
And basically, this dude offered to have us fuck his girlfriend, right? And this, they were older than us at the time, so yeah, nothing came out of that. But I just wanted to bring context to that because none of that was satire. So yeah.
But on top of this, her, Abraham, hang out with a person named Tryharder, and Tryharder...
I mean, if they didn't have any proof of that, and plus, again, like, how old are the minors? Everybody says this word minor. So I was like, yeah, when I was 19, I was going to have through with, like, 2 17-year-olds. Like, okay, well, we need more context than that. But it sounds like they just made it up anyway, so who cares?
Is a known swatter. He actually gets paid to put swats on people. Will link to their PayPals, rob them. He's a crypto thief. And he does all this, and we have it all.
Jesus, this guy's Jake Paul.
All on
or
recording.
Logan,
I can play it here.
God.
Hello?
So much unnecessary information here.
Hello? I can't deal with this anymore. My dad just shot my little sister. There's...
What?
Nigga, they actually just...
Wow. I guess that was a prank call to the police about how their dad shot their sister. This is the caliber of people that are in this Discord. Yeah, wow. You're all a bunch of fucking goblins.
So.
I don't... okay.
Hello? Hello? My dad just shot my little sister.
Oh, Jesus.
There's...
What's the address of your emergency? For verification.
8...
Sturgeon? Are you saying Sturgeon or Sturgeon?
Circle.
Whose address is this supposed to be? Like, is the goof to get, like, that person in trouble or something? This is just, like, it's just obviously gross.
S.
Okay.
Yes, you're doing a great job. What's the phone number that you're calling from in case we get disconnected? It's not coming up. What is the numerical again?
Probably not coming up because they have, like, some bullshit on it or whatever, you know?
What is your numerical?
Okay. 8... Okay, please. Listen to me, please. Florida.
Okay, this is just, like, droning on. It's obviously gross.
It's 321.
Okay, 321. Go ahead.
321.
I didn't mean to get...
Okay, you're doing a great job. Okay, Jeffrey, tell me exactly what happened.
This is definitely illegal.
Thank you so much. My dad came back home. He was probably drugged. I don't know. There's drugs all over the place. It smells so badly. There's drugs all over the place. And he came back. He had a shotgun and he straight up shot my little sister. My little sister Jennifer.
Alright, stay on the phone with me. I'm gonna get you some help.
Like I said, it's...
I mean, whoever's doing this needs to go to, like, actual jail. Like, this is probably the most fucked up thing ever. Like, this is literally the worst actual thing going on in this whole entire situation. What a gross thing to do, bro. Jesus Christ.
About... I couldn't speak to you guys. I had multiple issues with, like... It happened around 3 to 2 hours ago.
LOL, funny prank.
And I can't... I'm hidden. He's yelling.
Okay, is your dad in the area?
He's not... I'm safe. Trust me, I am safe.
You hear him yelling, but you're safe? That doesn't make any sense.
Is your dad in the area? Is your dad there?
Yes, he is.
Okay, how many people are injured?
Probably just my sister.
How many suspects are involved?
I only saw my dad. Just my dad.
Okay, where is he now?
He's still at home. He's still home. I can hear him yell.
Okay.
30.
How many medical for that? I need to get your dad's description. Is he black, white, Hispanic, or Asian?
White.
How old is he?
43.
What's his name?
Bro, you know what's really fucked is that like, so they're like, he's pranking this person because LOL, my dad killed my sister with a shotgun. Is so funny, guys. Let me just stress the person I'm calling, because realistically, like these people, the dispatchers that have to pick up these phones, like let's not pretend that they don't get some kind of trauma from like this kind of shit. Imagine hearing like literal like calling 911, I got shot, oh this happened, like it's traumatic. And so this woman is in like literal distress right now, but it's her job to be. And she's like, okay, we have to figure out what's going on. And like this kid is being dumb as shit, giving like fake addresses or whatever, and like the phone number's not working. And so she's just trying to help him out. And she's getting like, you're just stressing her out for no reason. Like, and you're taking up the line for an actual emergency and say something actually happens. It's just fucking gross, dude.
Okay, you're doing a good job. I want you to stay on the phone with me, Jeffrey. All right?
Yes. Like I said.
He arrived.
I think this is a different person. I don't know exactly who this is, but
he
it's
came
just another
with
one of these dumb
Jeep
fucks.
home.
Okay, I need to get that vehicle description. What color is the Jeep?
Black.
Is it a 2-door or 4-door Jeep?
4-door.
It's 4-door? All right, you're doing a good job, Jeffrey.
I
need
can't.
to get the weapon description.
He's yelling again. I can't. It was a shot. It was a shotgun. It was a shotgun. It was a shotgun.
They have current address.
They then target me. Here is them trying to get my information in this window for hours. He wants to commit identity fraud with my PayPal.
Lives in an apartment. I don't know.
No, that's not it. No. It's not the one that's 51 years old.
Yeah, no shit. Wait, no, that's the one that attached to. It is him. Look.
I know. That's the thing.
Wait, hold on. What is the last 4 digits of the phone number you think you have?
No.
But he has a Yahoo account too.
Are you using that stem?
No, it's fucking just random ass shit.
What do you?
I wonder if this is his address then.
I think I might be running him for 5 fucking gens here. Are you using that stem?
No, it's fucking just random ass shit.
What do you?
It's that.
What's happening in the back?
I'm telling you, like it's blurred out. I wonder if this is his address then.
I think I might be running him for 5.
What, are they playing Dead by Daylight while this is happening?
Fucking gens here.
Wait. High school yearbook, high quality. Oh hell, I gotta see this.
Oh yeah, right.
I gotta see this. Hold on.
Oh, GG, finally got me.
That was a legit 5 joke. That's him, dude. What the fuck?
Huh?
That's definitely him.
Show me.
You got like kid photos?
Holy shit!
Oh no. That's definitely him, dude.
That looks like him.
That's definitely him.
Is
anyone else going for tryharder with me? This is
Give me some ass.
This is the class of 2012. Well, I don't know if it's the class of 2012, but the yearbook is 2012. Fuck, let me see if I can figure out what class this is in. This is freshman. It's freshman.
And they're all fully aware of this, and they all use this to try to threaten me and to get into my details and to stop me from replying. And it's one of the reasons I was actually very scared to reply in this situation.
Pat God, I sent you a Twitter DM. Please add Tryharder. Tryharder says he knows the truth and he really needs on. You guys know Tryharder?
Yeah, Tryharder is a doc. Only is that kid not. That's just a kid too, anyway, right? And he was crying in court. So the way to approach this situation is not.
Kick them out.
Whether this is Clyde's fault or not, Tryharder was on his stream talking about me, and he was also on Keemstar's stream. And then Abraham and them are trying to bring more people, more swatters, more people trying to commit identity fraud with my things. And it's like, okay, if I reply, am I in danger? And that's a huge reason that I was very intimidated to reply in this situation. And I would really like your guys' support here. And I'm going to show all of the proof. All of this is just completely objective information. It's not even like an interpretation. I will show all of it. Them trying to get my social security number, them trying to get yearbooks, them trying to get a swatter on someone else, and I'm doing like fake tears to get the police on them, trying to get people killed. These people are not good news, and they are not the arbiters of truth. And so when people start believing them, and especially over what the actual truth of the matter is, it's very disingenuous, and it comes off as kind of borderline evil. Lastly, people are saying I was sexually harassing a minor because back in the day, there used to be a big Discord group called Emperor's Palace where Satire went to after, my server was over. And this server is just full of people that hate me and hate each other, and they just hate life in general. And everyone in there talks like they're in a Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 lobby.
Oh, he probably did do that. He probably did sexually harass a minor. They were probably within like a reasonable age range. But this is the problem with a bunch of like online like little kids, especially in these edgy spaces, especially with young boys in there, is that they're all a bunch of dumb fuck little edgy edgelords, and they go around saying dumb shit to each other and gross shit to each other, and they think it's totally fun, and it's not. But they're all in like those community of people doing that. Like this is one of those problems. Like you know, it was more of the intentionality. That's the problem. Is all these people are like edgy little assholes, and then half of them are pretending that they never were these edgy little assholes in the first place. It's just like dumb. It's just stupid, man. I mean, I know what it's like to be edgy, bro, because I am an edgy little asshole. Well, at least when I was younger. So, you know, it is what it is.
And everyone has like an anime profile picture, and they're just saying empty insults at each other. So yes, I said you have pepperoni nips or whatever. You know, even then, it's like I don't think
is that what we're calling sexual harassment? Technically, that is in like a workplace, but that's like, but we don't have the brain power on the internet to understand like the difference between like real sexual harassment or like we can't say that because everybody is so disproportionate. Like technically, that is like in a workplace you would get written up for sexual harassment, but we know that that's not the same as like putting somebody in a situation of like fucking forcing nudes out of them or something, which is what's usually insinuated on the internet.
Actually harassing her, right? It's like, think about it this way. If you're talking to some dude or some like high schooler in like a Call of Duty lobby and you're like, you have a microcock, you dork, are you going to say I was sexually harassing him? It just seems really...
Like technically, yes, but like not in the way that people think online, so...
disingenuous and kind of evil, because people actually do experience like serious sexual harassment, or you know, they actually get sexually assaulted by, you know, parents or, you know, bullies or whoever. And then so just saying like these like empty insults are sexual harassment is extremely loaded and disingenuous. So because I actually don't agree at all with people saying that this is sexual harassment just to like blatantly just like randomly talk shit with no real meaning or context. Clearly I wasn't actually looking at a picture of her or saw her in person. It was an empty insult. She is 3 years younger than me and a grown woman at that point in time. It's just absolutely bullshit, right? I don't agree with that.
She's 3 years younger than you. It doesn't really matter, like at that point, you know, like
terminology at all, and I don't think anyone should. It's disrespectful to actual people who are sexually harassed, and I want to move on from that. I also have a lot of evidence that when I talked to minors in the past, that I would always try to keep it public. Many years ago, even around this time, which further shows that my intentions with these types of people were never malicious or as bad as they're trying to paint it out to be. I did not take the Keemstar stream very seriously, and neither did Clyde. Clyde realized that Keemstar was just trying to take two friends that were having a hard time and pit them against each other for entertainment. I'm pretty sure the dude is actually a type of sociopath. Keemstar has actually been known to make false accusations on people in very similar situations, which is why I was very uncomfortable being on the stream and why I kind of just took the piss and just kind of like played it up for entertainment and really didn't take anything seriously. If you want to find out more about his history with that, you can see him ruining a man's life named RS Glory and Gold by falsely accusing him of being a pedophile and just straight up ruining his life and watching him cry on stream and all kinds of things. And Clyde and I both really did not feel comfortable there. I'm actually surprised people like Swag even showed up on that dude's stream, because he's literally a monster.
So would you have like a conversation with that Clyde guy like afterwards, like, yeah, we really shouldn't have done that, or are you just kind of assuming these things? Or?
Is so unaware when it comes to mental health and disorders. You can see him making fun of people that are... I even showed up on that dude's stream because he's literally he's literally a monster that still has a platform. Like, he is so unaware when it comes to mental health and disorders. You can see him making fun of people that are on antidepressants and really not understanding the gravity of mental health, because he doesn't have empathy for other people. He doesn't know how to feel it. I actually believe he is a type of sociopath.
You lived by sin your entire fucking existence, and then you surprised when the Antichrist comes knocking? What do you think was going to happen? Why are you surprised that I'm here? You knew this was coming.
Well, some of those people are saying that they were reaching out to you trying to help you because they thought you were in danger today, and then they got blocked.
Yeah, because I'm tired of weakness.
Okay.
All I need now are strong. I need defiers of fate. I need strong human beings that can get with the program, that aren't going to sit there twiddling their thumbs around. Keemstar, there are no coincidences in life. Think about that statement. There are no coincidences in my world.
Because
everything happens for a reason.
Because it's all planned. It's all been pre-designed.
Everything. It's all predestined, Keemstar. Everything you've done up until this point.
But the scariest thing about thinking that the world is a simulation and it's predestined and all that is then there's no reason to live. Why not?
Why do you fear death?
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's scary, because if you really think about it, then why live? Just jump off a cliff. If it's just a simulation, who cares?
Okay. When I get into mental health video, you'll see why him being interested in and trying to be involved in a situation is disturbing and scary.
I'm not joking. And many other people will agree, and this is why he's not very liked, and I don't like that he's seen as this, like, grand judge of internet beef. He determines who's, like, evil and good. Dude, he shouldn't even have a platform. He shouldn't even be here. He's sitting here with a girlfriend younger than my alleged victim while he's over twice my age. You can just tell he doesn't have any personal integrity, and he's the type of the dude that's like, legality is right.
I mean, I'm assuming that at the time of the victim, which seems to be in a reasonable age range, that's not the age that they were. But I guess now they're that age? Okay.
Right, like, you know, and I don't want to go too far into that, but he is just not a good person, and I don't really care what he has to say about me. And honestly think you guys should not care either. He shouldn't even have a platform. Yeah, notice that he always says, I was just a 26-year-old child, whenever someone brings up something the N-word. Keem, your girlfriend, you met her when she was, like, what, 20?
I think he's being facetious there, just so that you know. Probably, like, referencing, like, current social norms that, like, everybody that's, like, oh, like, especially girls on TikTok are like, oh, I'm just a 25-year-old minor, lol. It's like a TikTok trend, that's what I'm assuming, but...
19? She's like, what, 20? Is she a child? Do you think you're dating a child? That's what I mean, right? Like, there's just clearly no personal integrity. And back during a lot of these screenshots and things he's judging, I was like 19 or 20 as well. You know, where's the consistency? Like, you know, the bias and just the clear drama, you know, drama gremlin, like, activity is just so apparent. He's just not honest, and I really just don't want to associate anymore with that situation. As for Clyde and Omar, sectioning away from that, you know, there's a lot of things said in those videos. I was an asshole in the past. I understand that. And one thing I wanted to touch up on more specifically, as Clyde and Omar, you have heard my original video that I made. I don't really need to say much more. I don't need to, like, make this a video message to you guys too much, but I will work with you guys if you want to refund the Naruto vs. Ichigo Patreon. I think I have a good estimate of how much it made, but I will have to talk to Omar.
See, like, that's probably a valid criticism, because he ended up, like, getting a bunch of money and then he never fulfilled the project. And, like, so if it was about that specifically the whole time, they would have had a better argument. But since they decided to, like, overload it with, like, sexual assault shit, basically, and, like, grooming allegations, which are obviously not true, like, it takes away from that message. Because, like, when I watch it, like, I'm not interested in, like, oh, whether he took money from fans or something. If there's a much more serious allegation going on there, like, I'm more focused on that because we're having a disproportionate response. But unfortunately, sometimes people like to ring in as much shit as possible every time somebody does something. It takes away from the message at this point. So
private to kind of sort those details out. If you are interested, I can do that. And if you are interested in me doing any animation direction, as I said in the previous recording, I do have a lot of ideas for that. I can also provide animation direction and some art correction as needed and some ideas, and still refrain from being in the full project release, which could be on Omar's unique channel or on Clyde's channel or wherever it goes. The other person who was on the stream was Pat God. I will just say this straight up. I feel very uncomfortable with him being there because he's literally just a random guy from Discord who just insults people. Like, that's his whole thing. His name is Pack God. Like, packing is just mindlessly insulting people, which makes it very ironic that he doesn't understand.
Isn't he, like, a big YouTuber? He's got like 1.6 million followers, no? I mean, if his whole thing is like trolling people, I guess your best argument is like, oh, well, some of the allegations against me were that I was being like mean and trolling people, so how come, what isn't it like hypocritical to have him in there? I guess would be your best argument in that situation, I suppose. But okay.
Understand when I'm also just insulting people. Allegedly, and I heard this before I actually got on there, and before I got on it again, he apparently roasted a person named Sneeko or packed him one time, and then they kept in contact before, and then they talked before. And Sneeko is in support of...
It's a person named Sneeko. I just feel like you know who Sneeko is, but okay.
And a movie called Cuties,
okay.
And I'll just let someone else say it.
Hair, what his opinion?
You're really not helping yourself, like loading this up as much as possible. Just letting you know, brother. Oh, Lord. You got to pick a fight, man. You're just going after literally everything possible. You should probably just really, like, honestly, just advice to you, you know, when you're in these allegations, I think that you should focus a little bit more on, like, what's going on, which I think the beginning of the video, even though it was slow as fuck, focused on that, which makes a little more sense. But now you're kind of, like, spiraling and you're picking too many fights. It's going to kind of detract from the message. It's really diluting it. You probably could have summed this video down to like 10 or 15 minutes. Just be like, hey, this bubble here, the XBC to XYZ, and you could have even made these other points. But now we're just spiraling off onto Sneeko. Like, yeah, Sneeko's not great now. Back then, a lot of people liked him. So, I mean, I don't really care to get into the specifics of it, but you can't really fault the guy for being friends with Sneeko or former friends.
It is of me because it's coming from a man who likes cuties. So why the fuck would it matter if he thinks I'm a
I like cuties. Who doesn't like a cute girl that's over the age of 18? Okay. Or I guess at the age, but frankly, I'm more of like a 25, you know, maybe 28 my wife.
Anything like that. It legitimately couldn't mean less coming from a guy who openly defends a softcore child porn production.
Okay, if I ever wanted to get canceled, this is the video.
And so I was kind of uncomfortable being on this stream or being invited to it again. Once again, it's a guy named Pat God. He might be close to a guy named Sneeko. And it was just like, I really don't want to be associated with this any longer. One last thing I want to get into before I get more into like my career stuff, and segue more into like mental health and stuff like that. One last thing that needs to be addressed from the Keemstar stream is, you know, Swag Kage versus me, where he kind of came on, you know, he was like, Seth, you liar, you rat, you told me this, and Six was telling me you said that, and, you know, etc.
Well, yeah, no. So, like, obviously, your friends are going to have, like, an impact on the way people perceive you in some capacity. I just feel like this is not the fight to take it to. Especially with somebody who had such, like, a radical change in, like, their persona. Like, Sneeko kind of hurts your message.
And I was like, Swag, you know, this video right here, I literally say it, you know, years ago, you
like,
were part of this.
I just said I was
you know how the point is that like he's changed obviously for the worse. So you can't really fault people for like, oh, I thought he was a good guy kind of a thing, you know, because back then he probably was a better person. But hey, there we are now. He's just a fucking Andrew Tate clone. Him and Aiden Ross, brothers for life, baby.
Fucking bad this is. The reason you didn't try to defend this shit to me before is because you know how crazy it sounds. Instead, you just said that the person in the screenshots wasn't you. And the reason I'm trying to add people into call is because you want to maintain this he said, she said fucking narrative instead of having Six, someone who you have co-hosted videos with for like, what, 2 fucking years now, who people take seriously, and Troy, somebody who Six also takes seriously, who Six and I can both vouch for, who we know come in here and say that you were telling people that that wasn't you.
Go to 1 minute and 20
that
seconds.
you have been. Yeah, sure.
So when the doc originally came out, the 50 or so pages with the pedophile evidence or whatever, and Seth telling me, you know, it's all a troll. Some of these screenshots aren't me. Some of them are doctored. Regardless of if they are doctored or not, I believed him.
And I will show some.
Well, that guy said he believed it even if they were doctored. I mean, that's just something else, brother.
Screenshots now that Swag was indeed, you know, in these calls and aware of this, and even on his own stream he admitted it, right? He's like, well, I was only there for a few minutes. Well, maybe I was there the whole time. I don't remember, you know, and stuff like that. You can just tell he's starting to flip flop. He's very nervous of being attached to the situation. Swag, I'm just gonna say this: no one's coming for you, man. I'm the only one that's gonna get in trouble here. All right. I just wanted you to take accountability and admit that I wasn't lying, and if at best it was just a miscommunication between us. Okay. No one needs to be called a rat, liar, sociopath, light Yagami. No one needs to have like this middle school breakdown over a miscommunication like that. Okay. It's really weird. And you know, Six himself on a stream directly contradicts what you're trying to tell me he said. He literally himself says Seth said some were him and some were doctored, because that's how it's always been, and that's what I said 2 years ago. That's what Six said, and we know that you were there, and so you can make up these stories that you were there for a certain amount of time or whatever. But stop trying to attack me over it. All right, you don't throw me under the bus to make yourself look better. It's really immature. And this whole narrative that I told you back in the day that all these screenshots weren't me just isn't true. I've been very consistent for years. Okay, I've been consistent since day one about this because that's the truth. That's literally why Trini turned on them in this situation.
The Beast Burger is available for my wife to order. You should order it. Get the Mr. Beast Burger and tell me how it is. I mean that. Get the Mr. Beast Burger, because you want to know what, babe? He has small businesses, like local businesses, make those burgers with special, like with his specific seasonings and stuff. And I just think it's a cool concept to take like small businesses and allow them to be part of like his big chain. It's a cool idea. Like, it's like, in my opinion, it's like a really good way from like a capitalist perspective to help smaller businesses thrive. He's attaching his name to them for like an order only thing, and they're getting revenue from it. I think that's one of the great things about like that program when it comes to Mr. Beast. And if they can, get a chocolate bar too. Okay, get one of the Mr. Beast chocolate bars. All right.
Because some of these screenshots were real and not real. Six literally contradicts what you're saying. No, I never told you that. You might just be forgetting. I want to assume you're forgetting, but don't throw me under the bus over that, because it's just not true, and it's just objectively not true, and there's too much evidence to the contrary. Like, all right, and I'm just gonna say this as a warning here: a lot of these clips and a lot of these things are recorded at different times, so I'm sorry for the audio quality. My mind's a mess. The world's a mess right now.
Your audio quality's been terrible the whole fucking time, so.
I'm just gonna straight up say the audio quality will be different. It's a different day. A lot of these clips are made like right after I got out of the psych ward, and I do sound a lot different in those. My emotions are completely different. My new medication is hitting me a lot different, so please forgive me for sounding a little bit different in this next section, and I hope it doesn't bother you guys too much. The last thing I want to talk about, were things I just found untrue and maybe misworded by many people that I don't really agree with, that I felt need to be addressed before moving on. Some of these are minor and not that important, so no drama or anything, but a lot of people that aren't familiar with our community took these way out of proportion and didn't really understand what Clyde or I was saying when he said these in his videos. So no fault of Clyde, just mainly the outside community's misinterpreting.
This is right after the ward. When did he go to the ward, though? Like, was that after the segment he did? Like,
the first one is the whole "I have never debated anyone good before" thing, which Which this is like a really dorky thing to
yeah, we
mention
get it. You guys are fucking weird nerds that go around to Discords and debate people. Like, who cares?
care about, but it is sort of important for my image. And this is just not true. Everyone in the community knows I used to debate literally everyone, everywhere, at any opportunity. I have debated.
This was a big part of my branding back in the day, less now, but still important. Many people now think I am an industry plant that can't function on my own for some reason. You guys are so fucking immature. Holy fuck.
Pretty much everyone.
You're getting offended because he said that you're a bad debater. Okay.
Of note in this community,
or
and probably
said, like,
numerous times, with many of the top minds and debaters of this community earning their reputation or getting good from my literal debate boot camps I would make.
Wow, you would make debate boot camps. Holy fuck, cancel them for that. Am I right? Like, this is super cringe, guys. Come on. Oh, we're really excellent fucking debaters, guys. We're fucking awesome. Come on, knock it off. You're embarrassing me right now. Secondhand, I'm just saying.
And I would try to make the community better at it, because I always thought the community was really stupid, and I always thought it was kind of weird that everyone used to like pick on this community for being dumb. So I was like, I wanted to help people start to stick up for themselves. The only person with a lot of clout from the community I haven't debated before is probably Kruos or Ista, or at least people that have had clout since I retired from doing all of that like 2 years ago. And I'm not aware of any new people, nor do I really pay attention to it. Clyde was more so saying I don't debate people outside of the community with a lot of clout, which is fair. But I also just don't have a lot of interest or motivation to do so. I don't want to learn a lot about or debate politics or philosophy at the top of the game. It just doesn't interest me that much. And while philosophy does a bit, all of it really became kind of played out about 6 years ago. And I'll just be straight up honest. It is just 100% more fun to argue if SpongeBob could beat up Goku or something than...
This is part of your image. The sponge, like if anime characters could fight. Wow. Really, these are really important things that's happening here.
To argue if taxing the middle class 25% is moral or something. That's just my honest opinion. And as for King of Lightning and that whole debate, I did have some prep for that, but it was very minor and it was kind of blown out of proportion. The only help I got against King of Lightning was just the Roche limit argument, which is kind of infamous. People are kind of memeing on me for it, which is just that the moon has to be in stasis a certain distance from Earth due to its gravity or it would implode. I needed this because I couldn't find a Toriyama interview scan, which he directly says the moon is exactly the same distance from Earth in real life as it is in Dragon Ball, which I actually did find later and is actually in my How Strong is Goku video now. So I didn't actually need this argument to even win the debate anyway.
You did not need to add this into your fucking video. The fact that you guys think that this shit's like priorities is mind-boggling. Because even in that other Clyde video, it's like, holy fuck, they're talking about their debates and shit. It's like, Jesus Christ. Like, this is the pettiest part of it. Like, this is a priority to you guys. Like in with allegations against you for doing really inappropriate things, which again they don't seem to be true. You felt that to be like enough of a priority to add in the fucking video that you are like the best debater that you've ever met and used to do debate boot camps. Like that's something else. That's all I have to say. That's something.
King of Lightning kind of agreed with the real world being like Dragon Ball anyway, unless specified, which was actually in the debate. So I am sorry to King of Lightning if he felt this was dishonest, but it really isn't that big of a deal, and the results would have been exactly the same anyway. That's just the honest truth. The second one is I don't write my own videos, which I write 99% of all my videos. I'm an expert in Dragon.
Yeah, so again, this was like one of the dumb things from the other one. From my understanding, he writes his own videos unless he doesn't have like expertise on the subject, and then he'll ask people to write scripts and he'll pay them for it. It's again not that big of a deal. It really doesn't matter.
Ball, Naruto, Bleach, Death Note, Kingdom Hearts, God of War, Elden Ring, and Hunter x Hunter, mainly. Those are my main niches. So those videos are pretty much all me, with the exception of my latest God of War Elden Ring video where I didn't play Ragnarok, so I needed someone to vouch for me what happened in Ragnarok, etc. People are just confused due to Clyde's video because it said, and are saying that I'm an industry plant and I don't make my own stuff, which just isn't true, and this is not Clyde's fault either. People are just genuinely kind of stupid and took what he said out of context. No offense, but like that's not at all what he was trying to say. Clyde was saying that a lot of my videos outside of my niches have other people help with them, which is true, but I still have a large part in writing them and credit everyone every time. The only times I haven't credited someone for helping with the video is like Batman vs. Kira and the Fate power scaling video. Batman vs. Kira was a half and half project made by me and Webcam Parrot, and I genuinely forgot to credit him for his help with Batman feats. I was cool with him for a very long time even after this, and I told him the same thing, but I still did pretty much everything else with the story and
did you just like throw it in the description? I mean, okay, whatever.
Note stuff and how they'd interact being done by me. Parrot more so just provided feats he admitted he got off of a respect thread online, which was written by someone else, which you could actually probably find yourselves if you just Googled Batman respect thread or Batman detective feats respect thread or something like that. You probably find pretty much everything in that Batman vs. Kira video in a respect thread. Not for Kira, but for Batman. The Fate one, I didn't credit the writer because they are actually YouTubers as well as two people, and they wanted just to work with me, and they liked me a lot, but they knew what was being said was probably controversial, and even though it was their opinion, they didn't want to get hate for it. They just found...
Sorry, on a what video? What is the video that they didn't want?
Two people for Kira, but for Batman. Probably find pretty much everything in that Batman versus Kira video in a respect thread. Not for Kira, but for Batman. The Fate one, I didn't credit the writer because they are actually YouTubers as well as two people, and they wanted just to work with me, and they liked me a lot.
Wait, so we're saying that they were so upset about the controversial fucking anime take. Wow, that's incredible. This fucking priorities, guys. Holy shit.
But they knew what was being said was probably controversial, and even though it was their opinion, they didn't want to get hate for it. They just found it fun to work with me and liked me, as I said before. Otherwise, every time someone helps, I usually do mention them by name in the video or the description. And if I forgot anybody, I'm not trying to hide it. I just genuinely forgot.
I always either co-write, then credit, or credit who writes my videos. I have always been open to this, as I like other writing comic information for me, as people think I'm biased. Okay, whatever. That makes sense. Okay.
These videos were edited by Clyde a year or two ago, but all of my new content is not made with any of these people and was an entirely new team I made myself, with Crisis Edits being the main editor. He did an amazing job and is an insanely good dude and very smart, by the way. Even if you hate me, even after this video, please check out his stuff. He did nothing wrong and was never involved in or knew about any drama or anything really about me. He doesn't even want to work with me anymore at this point, so do give him his accolades if you hate me or even like me for that matter. He deserves a lot more clout. Otherwise, when it comes to videos like How Strong is Goku, which I wrote hundreds of pages of notes for and researched for years to make that video, however, I will say I never give enough credit to my editors and what
is that, fucking jerking off the Dragon Ball porn? Like, what the fuck?
They had to do as well, and Clyde was very helpful with the editing of the Boo Saga portion of that video. Otherwise, I do all my own stuff in terms of writing. This should be obvious as I do live collabs with other YouTubers, and they clearly respected my opinion a lot. And it wouldn't make sense for that to be the case if I was just like an industry plant and didn't know what I was talking about, right? They would probably have just exposed me for that a long time ago. The last thing I want to really mention is just more so, this is sort of like a new development, and this was Swag Kage and trying to say that I was trying to use suicide as a manipulation tactic to get people to like vouch for me and do stuff. This was like a weird conclusion he came to. There was like no evidence I was trying to manipulate him at all. I just want to say this to you, Swag. You said you contacted the police 4 times up until February 8th. I was actually, I don't even want to mention this in the video, but I feel like I'm kind of forced to because you made your stream. I was not actually threatening suicide. I actually already tried to do it.
Damn,
like on February 9th through 12th, I was in a psych ward. And they were keeping me in there for my own good. And while I was in there, they I'll just get the paper right here. This is exactly what they said, and I'll show a little bit on the screen. I don't want to dox myself. If there's any influencers that want proof for any of this, I can show it. But a lot of it is like doxing.
Moderate episode of recurrent major depressive disorder. Listen. Okay, results suicidal. I mean, I don't know how to. I guess I'm not an anybody, but it's like weird that it says moderate episodes of recurrent major depressive disorder. I don't know. I guess the word moderate doesn't really communicate suicide to me, but this says suicide here, I guess. I don't, whatever. Okay.
So, they said that I have a moderate episode of recurrent major depressive disorder, which gives me like suicidal thoughts and tendencies. Okay. So, you know, when I did actually lose my life and my livelihood, yes, I actually did try to go through with it. And while I was in there, people were rooting for me. A lot of people I've never heard of before, or heard from before in a long time, were telling me to keep fighting and keep doing my thing. So that's why I came back to YouTube to try to. Sorry, this is kind of emotional for me. I genuinely was.
I genuinely think everyone who messaged me positive things on my alternate Twitter meant so much to me. How did people find out if like nobody knows? I guess privately. Did it pass around privately? Okay, I guess.
Okay, I'll try to fight for everything. You know, I came from nothing, and I tried to work my ass off to make everything I have, and people are trying to take everything I have away from me because I don't have anything. So it was hurtful, and I don't really agree with this whole narrative that like because I want my friends to vouch for me on certain things that they agree with, that I'm somehow like some like Aizen anime villain manipulator. And yeah, I do know that like saying these things is hurtful to people, but that's not what I was trying to go for. Swag, if you wanted to know what I wanted you to vouch for me for, I just wanted you to vouch for me that I write my own videos. When you like went on stream and were like, Seth is a sociopath, a liar, an evil man, it was really jarring. And it was kind of scary, dude. Like, I actually I was like, what in the fuck is happening, right? And you know, when I would be going through a lot of stuff, you know, you watch these guys' videos, and they're just sort of, they're like posting like mental breakdowns or like weird like personal moments of mine like publicly to try to make me seem like a bad person because I have mental illness, or you know, like I have this crazy depression disorder that makes me like manic and suicidal and stuff, and they're trying to use it as like a weapon against.
I mean, listen, I don't know the exact things that are going on. I guess some like general advice is like, yeah, it's said if you have like an issue, but also you have to understand that like you have to manage your shit. And if like maybe people are getting upset with you, maybe like, so to you it's just a manic episode and you understand. To them it might just be like, wow, this guy's being a real piece of shit. You know, I don't know how much your relationship is with your like mental illness, but you have to manage your mental illness and get your shit together. And I'm just speaking blunt because that's how I speak. Because at the end of the day, like there can only be so much charitability from people that interact with you before they're like, wow, this is like enough of this. Especially if you're not getting your shit together. You know? I know it's a harsh thing to say, but like, you know, hopefully you're getting your shit together now and you're getting like everything handled, but you know, just try to, you know, take a little more responsibility, I guess, for it. But also, like, I understand that I could fuck you up, so
against me. It's really abnormal. And Swag, all I wanted from you was just like to say, just, hey Seth, I'm sorry for calling you a liar and a rat on Keemstar's stream, because you know, like, you even admitted it. You admitted it on your live stream, right? You know, Seth has screenshots that I was there, and then you said
you did everything to hurt my credibility. It made no sense to me.
Okay, well, I was only there for a little bit, but you know, maybe we didn't know. It was just a misinterpretation or like a miscommunication. So I just wanted you to apologize for trying to make me seem like a liar or a rat for that situation, because I wasn't lying, right? Like, I actually thought you were there. I had all the screenshots, and like, you never clarified to me. So if you want to say that you weren't there for the whole thing, there's no proof for that, but I'll take your.
Interesting point. I mean, he is a debater. Well, you're saying that he absolutely will create like a victim narrative. That's possible. It's a problem with being a good debater. That's not really. By the way, being somebody telling you that you're a good debater isn't like a fucking compliment. Like, that just means that you know how to win a fight, like an argument, not that you actually know what you're talking about. That's possible. It's also possible that this stuff is real. Like, that's not bad faith to fuck out of everything.
Word for it. You should still just apologize for what you said, and that's all I really wanted, was just for you to hold like some kind of accountability. But instead, you try to turn me into like some like Aizen anime supervillain.
What the fuck does that mean?
And you'll notice, like, with a lot of like the rhetoric.
What about a nose in anime villain? Maybe an eyes and ears
being used. They try to like paint me as like the sociopath, like emotionless, like evil man. But at the same time, they try to say I'm like full of emotions, like of happiness, anger, and like sadness.
I appreciate you sitting through this video with me. Thank you.
At the same time, and that I help people and all kinds of shit. And then, you know, professionals also just don't agree that that's what's happening. Like, I have a bunch of papers from professionals I can show influencers and stuff. That I help people and all kind of like full of emotions, like a path, like and you'll notice, like, with a lot of like the rhetoric being used, they try to like paint me as like the sociopath, like emotionless, like evil man. But at the same time, they try to say I'm like full of emotions, like of happiness, anger, and like sadness at the same time.
I mean, I wouldn't doubt that a bunch of dumb fucking edgy kids don't understand mental illness in a way that like they would be empathetic towards you about. So,
and that I help people and all kinds of shit. And, you know,
a profound amount of ignorance in that community, it seems like.
Professionals also just don't agree that that's what's happening. Like, I have a bunch of papers from professionals I can show influencers and stuff. And I'm not trying to use it as like a get out of jail free card. It's just like reality, right? That's just how it actually is, right? Yeah. Like, my livelihood that I've been working like 7 years on is being taken away. And I already had problems to begin with. Like, yeah, I feel awful. Like, how is this? How do you come to the conclusion that I'm like?
Let's be clear. There's a difference between bringing up like your potential like mental issues for context as to why you might have acted inappropriately versus like leaning too hard into it. Like, I guarantee you there's situations where he was like an asshole. Like, what is, again, the grooming shit is obviously, like, from what we've seen, like, even what the narrative was 1620, like, your guys are fucking dumb as hell. It's not true. But they probably didn't like you because you probably are a piece of shit sometimes, and that might be because of your mental illness. But you have to be responsible for that, because like at the end of the day, it's no one else's responsibility to be your friend. Like, yeah, you got an additional struggle in your life, and that really does suck. But then also you have to understand that, like, you know, people can only put up with so much, you know. So
like Aizen or something.
You didn't get the burger. You got, come on, bro.
And I will say this too, Clyde. I am sorry as well. I wasn't sure what to think about you. A lot of people are telling me that what you're doing is only like half genuine. They were trying to say that like you had like ulterior motives and stuff. And, you know, when you wouldn't talk to me or like vouch for me on certain things, I was like, does he actually just hate me? Is he actually just trying to destroy my life? And when I watched your stream or whatever, and you're like, Seth should have just shut his mouth, and you and Noodles like, he should have just shut up, and this wouldn't have happened. I didn't know how to feel about that. But you know, I'll just be the bigger man, and I'm just gonna say like I'll trust you, right? Like, I want to trust you. And even in that call, you know, where they recorded it, I did say I trusted you still.
Wait, is he talking about the guy Clyde? Did I get that right?
Just shut up. When I watched your stream me on certain things, I was like ulterior motive. A lot of people are telling me that what you're doing, I am sorry as well. I wasn't sure what thing. And I will say this too, Clyde,
Wait, I don't know. something weird about like that Clyde. Isn't he the one that like orchestrated this whole like dumb fucking campaign? Why do you have so much empathy towards Clyde? Like, I don't understand. I would fucking never associate myself with that person again. Either you're really dumb, or I don't know. Maybe you're just like fucking destiny, and you're too charitable to people that hurt you. I don't know. But I don't know. It's just weird to me. Okay.
But you know, I'll just be the bigger man, and I'm just gonna say like I'll trust you, right? Like I want to trust you, and even in that call, you know, where they recorded it, I did say I trusted you still. But you know, there's always the possibility that
is it a different person?
People are just really out to get you, and a lot of the reactions to certain things just don't really make a lot of sense. And that's just the honest truth, dude. Like that's just the honest truth. I don't know what else to say. But I want to, you know, work with everyone and just be apologetic, and I just want everyone just to get out of this okay, right? Like Swag thinks I'm trying to come for his neck and slander him or something, or get clips of him. Clyde thinks I'm trying to get him and slander him. I don't want to hurt anyone. I don't want anyone.
Personally, I just can't wait for this whole drama to be over, because it's just some of the dumbest shit ever.
To hurt me. I think it's normal for people to want to, you know.
Oh, it is the same Clyde. Okay, yeah, it's fucking weird.
Repent and be apologetic while also caring about their own mental health or their livelihood. I don't think these things are mutually exclusive, and I'm sorry if it came off that way, but I just thought, you know, we could all just genuinely be friends and just work through this and all that. And since this is a bit of a time skip since my original recording, I have been seeing therapists. Been going to intensive outpatient programs and have been getting some medication. And while that will not cure everything instantly, it could take months or like even years sometimes.
Yeah, so what it sounds like based on what he's just said is that he's just now really trying to get hold of his mental health, and that's good. Like, that's a good thing. Keep on it, even if it gets hard. But like, if you didn't have control of it, you know, you have to understand why people might have like not been a big fan of you as a person. Even if like the campaign against you was like definitely way too disproportionate, like understand, like for future friendships of people who haven't tried to destroy you or your career, keep that in mind, that like your mental health issues aren't their sole responsibility, and like it's good for them to be like empathetic, but there's only, you know, you got to put in as much effort to help yourself as they will put in to be charitable too.
Like certain trauma responses take years, but you know, medication will help the major depression disorder or recurrent depression disorder and a lot of those thoughts. And a lot of people have been reaching out to me that I thought hated me in the past, that have been making me feel like a lot better about the situation. And a lot of people, especially from like the religious communities, you know, have been reaching out to me saying they're praying for my well-being, and I want to take my life more seriously from now on. And Swag and Clyde, I hope you take your lives more seriously from now on too. It's clear you don't want anything to do with me. I just wanted you to help me like clear my name a little bit about things you guys agreed with. You know, I wasn't trying to manipulate you or nothing. This is what I was telling people, like, hey, I just want them to agree with me on these things. And it's just basic things, right? Like, very agreeable. But if you don't want to, that's okay. I'll move on. We'll all move on. And this will be the last I'll ever talk about it. Other than that, guys, thank you so much to those who supported me. You know, I never said I wasn't an asshole. I only said that I was trying to get better, which is true. Most of these allegations are years old. A lot of years old. Some of them even over half a decade old, right? Like, and the farther back you go, the worse they get, obviously. So yes, I have been trying to better myself as it was, but now I'm going to take it very, very seriously. I don't want to hurt anyone. I don't want to do anything. So let's just stop this. All right, let's try to get help for everyone and move on for the future.
Okay. I want to end this video on a positive note. Oh God.
In the future, I will continue to keep uploading. I'm actually going to try editing and like making a whole video by myself, just so that I can try to put myself into the shoes of my editors for once. I wanted to make like Naruto versus Ichigo versus Luffy versus Goku from you know, the earlier part of their series. It'll be a huge video. I'm sure you guys will love it, and I'll put my heart and soul into it. And I do have many more videos coming, and I just hope that we all just can move on from this. You know, don't listen to these guys that are trying to commit identity fraud and do all this crazy activities. They are really
all right, bro. Fuck. What do we got? 2 minutes left? This is gonna be the worst 2 minutes.
Good people, and they genuinely hurt people like badly, right? You know, there's accusations around me, but these guys are actually hurting other people, and then you guys are deciding with them, you know. And I know it sounds like I'm trying to twist things, but trust me, like that's literally just the reality, right? Like we have factual evidence these people are hurting others and lying to the police, and then my story, like these guys are just lying.
Always lie to the police.
So why are we
never tell
my career over this? It just doesn't really make sense to me in any way. I've been trying to get help for a long time. I've already been working on my channel for years. I've already been trying to, you know, fix my attitude. I removed so many debunk videos and so many things of me attacking other people. Me attacking anyone is considered like a rare event. It's almost considered like more like a relapse than, you know, consistent behavior. And now that I'm seeing therapists, psychiatrists, and I've been in intensive outpatient programs. I've already been getting better and trying to work on myself as much as possible. This is just a very scary situation for me and for many others involved. There's a lot of dangerous people in this situation that are trying to hurt both Clyde and I, and I feel like they need to be the focus of the situation, not Clyde and I. And I think Clyde and I, we really need to hammer out our problems with each other. Same with Omar and me. Get Naruto versus Ichigo on track. Look towards the future and try to get these malicious entities out of our community. And that's all I'm going to say about it.
Wow. What a video. Holy shit. We did it, guys. We were able to sit through that fucking mess.
I want Papa Gut to pee on my face, but just as a friend. There's nothing weird about that. I want him to pee on my face.